Hare Krishna, everyone. Um, 4.19, chapter 4, verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambah
यस्य सर्वे
यस्य सर्वे
समारम्भाः
समारम्भा
kama sankalpavarjitaah
कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः
jnanagni dagda karmanam
ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं
tam ahu panditam buddhaah.
तम् आहुः पण्डितं बुधाः
Yasya, one whose survey all sorts of samarambah attempts kama based on desire for sense gratification, sankalpa determination, varjitah are devoid of jnana of perfect knowledge, agni by the fire, dagda burned, karmanam whose work, tam him, ahu declared, Panditam, learned, Buddha, ha, those who know. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reaction of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. 4.20 त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं
त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा
कर्मफलासक्तम्
कर्मफलासङ्गम्
नित्या तृप्तो निराश्रयः
नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः
नित्यतृप्तोऽनिराश्रयः
कर्माणि अभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि
कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि
नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः
नैव
नैव
किञ्चित् करोति
किञ्चित्
सः
करोति सः
त्यक्त्वा having given up karma phala asangam attachment for fruitive results nitya always triptah being satisfied nirashrayah without any shelter karmani inactivity abhipravratah being fully engaged api in spite of now does not eva certainly kinchit anything karoti do saha he abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities ever satisfied and independent he performs no fruitive action although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. 4.21 Nirashiryata chittatma
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा
त्यक्ता सर्वा परिग्रहाः
त्यक्त
यत्र
सर्वपरिग्रहः
सर्वपरिग्रहः
शारीरां केवलं कर्म
शारीरं
शारीरं
केवलं
केवलं
कर्म
कर्म
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति
किल्बिषम्
किल्बिषम्
निराश nirashiha without desire for the result yata controlled chitta atma mind and intelligence tyakta giving up sarva all parigraha sense of proprietorship or possessions sariram in keeping body and soul together kevalam only karma work kurvan doing na never apnoti does acquire kilbisham sinful reactions. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence, perfectly controlled, given up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So I'll just explain the 4.19, 4.20, and 4.21. So, according to Srila Prabhupada, a person in Krishna consciousness is devoid of all sense gratification activities because he is in full knowledge or perfect knowledge of his constitutional position, which is the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. This knowledge acts as a fire which can burn all kinds of reaction from karmic work. As we have seen in the previous shloka, a person acting in the Krishna consciousness is naturally free from bonds of karma. When he performs work for Krishna, he does not expect material result, and hence there is no reaction. So even the 4.20 is the extension to the previous shlokas. So in this shloka here, Srila Prabhupada explains us Krishna conscious person performs activities out of pure love for the spiritual Godhead, which is bhakti. While doing so, he leaves everything to Krishna and in the process does not feel anxious or does not feel in possession of anything. He frees from all bondages and performs his duty to the best of his ability. This is also called a karma or action without fruitive reaction. 4.21 Krishna conscious person is the part and parcel of Supreme. We are all tiny, minuscule particle of Krishna. When, for example, when our hand moves or our different body part functions, we have limited control. This is being done or controlled by a superior power or power of Supreme. Hence, Krishna conscious person devotes all his activities to the Supreme and thus does not do things for personal sense gratification. Like machine requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, similarly, a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by performing devotional loving service to Krishna. He understands completely that for maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair mean of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material sins. That's all. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Good.
Very nice. Thank you. Would anybody like to please add or comment or anything? Okay. Sanchita has actually covered everything very nicely. Very nice, Sanchita Mataji. So in verse 19, so just before that, Krishna has said, that no human being is going to be able to sit without doing any work. So everyone works. And just because you sit in the corner and close your eyes and say, oh, I'm not going to move from here, doesn't mean that you are not working. So which is where the whole seeing action in inaction and inaction in action comes into play. Now Krishna is telling us how one can actually work in such a way. So this is how one can perform inaction in action. Okay. So how can one work in such a way that even though he's working, he's not accruing any karma behind it. Okay, he's not accruing any reactions, fruitive reactions. So the first step there in verse 19 is one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. So what is the first step? No desire for sense gratification. Okay, so remember we talked about karma yoga. Yeah. So when does karma work become karma yoga? Karma means when we have reaction. Karma yoga is when our reaction, depending on the amount of yoga, depending on how attached we are to the Supreme, the reaction keeps getting lower and lower. So how does karma become karma yoga? Yes, Vidushi, why don't you turn your mic on?
Hare Krishna Mataji, so I'm just checking with mom, but when you give up the results of your actions, and you connect your actions to Krishna, so whatever you do, it's in a sense you give the result to Krishna, so that you don't get any result.
Yeah. But if you, in the 12th chapter, even before that, giving up results, there's one more step. Krishna first says, you work for me. Right? So that is exactly what he's saying here as well. See, if let's assume I am a cook in someone's house. Okay. So today they have asked me to make some really wonderful dish, okay, which I love a lot. So they've asked me to make 1 kilo of whatever that is. And this is, I go to their house, they give me all the, ingredients and I have to cook right there. Can I, as I'm cooking, decide, oh, this is really so good, they don't deserve it, I deserve it more, and take a portion and put it away? If you were, if you were the person who's paying me, what would you think? Absolutely not, right? Now, why would I do such a thing in the first place? Because desire for sense gratification. When I don't think about you, I think about me. When it's all about me, 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 when it's all about lust. Right? So, when our lust reduces and our love for Krishna increases, we actually begin to perform karma yoga. Okay. Now, so when we perform, so one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of a desire for sense gratification. So here we are talking in terms of extremes. Okay. First, full knowledge, not part knowledge. Full knowledge. Second, every single act. So you cannot say that someone is in full knowledge if every single act that they perform is not devoid of a desire for sense gratification. Okay. So such a person is said to be a worker whose fruitive action is burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So slowly, slowly, Krishna is beginning to introduce the concept of sacrifice, burning up. So he says, one who does not have any desire for satisfying their senses, one who's not thinking about stealing it, because I like it more than you do, such a person is said to be in full knowledge. Okay. The next verse he says, Tyaktva karma phala sangam. So first was no desire. Second, he's saying, if assume there is a little desire, which means there is phala that is going to come. Correct? First, there is no desire. So 19 is talking about the person who is perfect. 20 says, assume that there was some problem and there was some amount of desire for sense gratification, which means there would be karma phala acquiring. Right? So when karma phala, or the results of that desire, so you have done an activity because you wanted to satisfy your sense, So I didn't take everything, okay? I didn't take a big piece of what I was making. I just took a small bit and oh, that's really good. Hmm. And I go. They don't even know. Okay, you as my employer, you don't even know that I've done that. If you come to know, are you going to be happy? No. But you don't know about it. Will I, exactly, will I get karma phala or not? Yes, I will. Right? Now that karma phala, if I abandon attachment to that karma phala. Now in this particular case, the karma phala is very, what will the karma phala be? The karma phala will be them coming back and telling me, oh, it was really wonderful. What you cooked was so good. We loved it. And me going, oh, that was me. You know, that's just me. Now that, waiting to hear, oh, they should tell me that I did a great job. Oh, that is me. That is attachment to the result. If you didn't come back and tell me, Mataji, how was it? Was it good? You liked everything? Everything was okay, no? Why? Because I want you to tell me it was great. Right? So that attachment to that result is not there. So assuming you've done something with the desire for sense gratification, at least now don't go after the result. Leave that result to the Lord. So that's what Krishna says in the 12th chapter again. First, do everything for me. You can't do everything for me. Give up the results for me. Right? So he says, abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent. Always satisfied. That is easy to understand. Although it's not easy to follow, but it's easy to understand. Always satisfied. Whatever comes of its own accord, perfectly satisfied. Independent. Sridhara Swami says independent means not dependent upon others for anything. Yoga Kshemartham Ashraniya Rahitah. Yoga Kshema. Remember 922? Krishna says Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Whatever you do not have, I bring to you. Whatever you have, I protect. Correct? So, in order to go and get what I do not have, and in order to protect what I already have, if I start looking around and saying, oh, I need to employ this person, I need to go beg for, beg to that devata, I need to perform this puja. When I start doing all these, what am I doing? I'm not working in full knowledge. Why? Because I am no longer independent. Now, is a jiva independent? So if a jiva is not independent, who is he dependent on? On Krishna. Why? What, Vidushi?
Sorry, Mataji, I'm literally checking answers with mom, but
I check auntie.
it's just so everything comes from Krishna, so we're dependent on from everything. We're dependent on Krishna.
Correct. Everything we are dependent on Krishna. We come from Krishna too, correct?
We're part and parcels of Krishna.
We are part and parcel of Krishna. A
Chaitanya
child will depend on its mother. Yes, Sandhya Mataji, sorry.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that not a blade of grass moves without mind.
Will.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we are not independent. But when here Krishna says ever satisfied and independent, it means that jiva doesn't go depending on other jivas or other areas for its requirements, to satisfy its senses. So abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, nirashrayaha, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertaking. So even though now he has results, it is still called performing no fruitive action. Why? Because the fruits of that action have been abandoned, have been given up. Therefore, no fruits, no fruitive action. Okay. Then Krishna says, Nirashir yata chittatma, nirashihi, without desire for the results. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled. Gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So, earlier we said, what is the word we used? We used nirashrayaha. Here the word is nirashihi. The earlier this thing is without ashraya. Ashraya means refuge. Here it is nirasha. Asha means hope. Yeah. So without hoping that, oh, if I do this, they will help me. If I go and do this, this person will help me. If I do this prayer, that Devata will help me. Without thinking in all this manner. Yatta chitta atma. One who is controlling his chitta and atma, mind and intelligence. Tyakta sarva parigraha. He gives up all notions of proprietorship. This is mine. I am the owner. Everybody should worship me. So all claims of ownership. What does he do? He basically executes actions just to maintain the body without any attachment to the desire of achieving some object. And because he's doing that, there is no sin. So this brings us to sannyasis. Sannyasis are supposed to wander around and beg for alms, right? So a jnana yogi also does that. So will there be any reaction to him?
If they offer.
Okay, if they offer first to the Lord, okay, what else? But here Krishna is not talking in terms of offering it back to Krishna, back to the Lord. He's talking in terms of
Dharma.
jnana yoga. And he's talking in terms of being detached. So what should such a jnana yogi's mental state be?
He is following his dharma and
Mhm.
he is detached with all these things.
Okay, when you say detached, what exactly do you mean?
He doesn't have, suppose he is getting food, actually every sannyasi he has to go for only 5 houses and not
Mm,
more than that. If
mm,
they don't get anything, they should not worry about it. They have to keep fasting that day. And if suppose if a sannyasi gets in one house, if it is sufficient quantity, he has to get satisfied. He should not go further ahead and stop
correct. Correct. And then you should not take it and store it in this refrigerator.
it.
Correct, very correct. So, what we see here is how motivation. What is our motive behind every activity? Yeah? So, like Prabhuji rightly pointed out, being satisfied with what you already have, not over endeavoring to get more and more. So, what does Rupa Goswami say, Nectar of Instruction?
I remember there's one verse something to do with Prajalpa. All those.
That's the one, that's the one.
I don't remember the full thing. I know it's the Prajalpa is don't excessive talking, do not be greedy.
Yeah,
There are six things.
that's
Six,
right.
yeah.
Shadbir
So,
Bhakti Vinashyati. So, what is that? Atyahara. Yes,
complete.
Vidushi, unmute yourself.
Is it no overeating, oversleeping, over talk, or prajalpa, or talking unnecessarily, not required, um, association with
Yeah,
the
so Atyahara Prayashascha Prajalpo Niyamagrahah Sanga Laulyam. What is that? Atyahara Prayashascha Prajalpo Niyamagrahah Sangatyaga Sato. No, that is the next one. So Laulyam Cha, the last one is Laulyam. Uh, the fifth one is where you want to associate with all kinds of people. So first one, atyahara, okay? Ati ahara, excessive eating. Okay, now atyahara is not just excessive eating. This eating is only for the mouth and the stomach. But there is also eating for the eyes, eating for the ears, eating for the nose. All our senses are constantly taking in things. So atyahara, excessive sense gratification. Because some amount of sense gratification is very essential. Some amount, very small. Why? Because we are in the material world. We shouldn't make our heart very hard. So, how does one do sense gratification? That also we try and hook it back to Lord Sri Krishna. Oh, I love listening to songs. Okay, listen to nice bhajans. Listen to wonderful kirtanams. Oh, I love eating such good food. Okay, make it, offer it, eat it. Who's stopping you? So, atyahara. And in order to get that atyahara, what do? Prayasa. Prayas means over endeavoring, which means what? You're not satisfied with what you have. And here, what is he talking about? He's talking about satisfied. Atyahara prayasascha. Prajalpa. Now, this is another way the mind is occupied. Prajalpa. Going here, going there, talking, gossip. Talk about this person, talk about that person. All that, what does it do? It makes me feel so good. Just because I have now been talking about others, I've been running them down, I feel good. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha. Niyama agraha and niyama agraha. Both are wrong. So niyamagraha, the word niyamagraha is made up of two words. Niyama, niyamaha. So niyam means rules. Niyama agraha means I do not accept any rules. Or niyama agraha, one who is overly, oh, this rule says this, being so, what is the word? Nitpicky. Pranitki. Just, why? Oh, you just touched your ear. Go take a bath. You know, like that. So, one who is excessively fond of rules, or one who just can't be bothered with rules. Then Jana Sangascha Laulyam cha. Ha, that is the one. Jana Sanga. Janasanga. Janasanga, just wanting to go out and talk to people all the time, just can't stay by oneself. Why can't stay by oneself? Because that means I will be left alone with my own thoughts. I cannot face myself. I'm afraid of myself. Why am I afraid of myself? Because I don't like what I see. When I'm alone with myself, I'm forced to look inward and I see my faults and I don't want to fix them. So what do? I run outward. I need friends. On Facebook, if at least 2000 people are not following me, I am, oh my God, if I haven't had 200 likes today, I am, is that what happens? I'm not on Facebook, so I really don't know. But yeah, if I don't get 200 likes today, my life is ruined. Instagram, if I haven't posted a picture and people haven't come back and told me how beautiful I look, isn't that isn't that what's happening today? Yeah. Janasanga and laulyam, greed. Greed for all these material things. You name it. Janasangascha laulyam cha shadvidhi shadbhir bhakti pranashyati. Shadbhir. By these six, bhakti is destroyed, Rupa Goswami says. So here, what is Krishna saying? He says, where are we? Nirashi. He gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So any questions so far? Okay. In which case, what we're going to do is we're going to continue with 22, 23, and 24 and finish that section today. Okay. So 22. Yadricha labha santushto
Yadrucha labha santushto
Santushto
द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः
dvandvatito
समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च
samasiddhava
Samasiddhau
siddhau
श्रुत्वापि न निबध्यते.
kritvapi na
न
nibadhyate.
निबध्यते
Yadricha, out of its own accord, labha, gain, santushtah, satisfied, dvandva, duality, atitaha, surpassed, vimatsaraha, free from envy, samaha, steady, siddhau, in success, asiddhau, failure, cha, also, kritva, doing, api, although, na, never, nibadhyate, is affected. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady both in success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Now, this verse, various permutations and combinations of this verse appear in almost every single chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna does not tire of repeating himself over and over and over and over again, and we still don't get the message. What is it? Be satisfied. Whatever comes to you, just be satisfied with that. Free from duality, happiness, sorrow, success, failure, good, bad. All this, it's the material world. Duality is the nature of the material world. So if you're going to try fight against duality, you're not going to win. So be satisfied. Free from duality. Does not envy. Now, when does duality affect us even more? When we are bitten by the envy bug. Now, whenever I look out, I see something and I say, oh, I wish I had it. Finished. Sorrow. What is the job of the mind? The job of the mind is,
Thinking.
sorry, no, thinking, yes. What else?
Make plans to get what you want.
Confuse.
Confuse,
Comparing.
Calm.
comparing. Yes, excellent. And what else? The job of the mind is to take things and put them in boxes. The job of the mind is like a postman in a sorting office, he's just taking letters and slotting them into various pigeonholes. The job of the mind is to look at this and go, ugh, bad. Nice. Mine. That is the job of the mind. Duality comes from the mind. I like, I dislike. I want, I do not want. This is good, this is bad. This duality is what the mind does. That's the job of the mind. Once the mind does that, says, I don't like this, the intelligence kicks in. Now, if the intelligence is intelligent, it'll tell the mind, hang on, this is actually good for you. Oh, Karela, you don't like it. I know, but it's actually good for you. Eat it. Oh, you're not supposed to eat sweets. You have diabetes, but you love to eat sweets. Do you want to die? Do you want to die a horrible death? Then stop eating sweets. That's the job of the intelligence. But when the intelligence is not intelligent, what does it do? It makes excuses. It plays with the mind. It says, just once. How does it really matter in the larger scheme of things, It doesn't really matter. One bite. Okay, okay, just one bite we'll have, okay? And that one bite, a small bite, okay? Small bite. That small bite becomes one big bite. Because the intelligence does not have what we call the willpower. The willpower comes from the intelligence. Because the mind is not intelligent. Remember, the job of the intelligence is to be intelligent. The mind is not intelligent. The mind is dual. Yes, I like, no, I don't. It's like a small child. The mind is like a small child. I want. I don't want. I like you. I hate you. Go away. Have you seen small children? They take such violent likes and dislikes to people, right? My friend, go away, go away, they push you. I remember my husband's niece, when she was little, 2 years old. Oh my God. So all day she would stick to me. In the evening, when my husband came home, and if he tried to, so when he came home, she would be all over him. She would literally climb on his head, right from his head on. He had to sit down and she would go all over him. And then if he came and sat next to me, that was it. She would kick him, push him, go away, go away, go away. Chachi mariche, go away. Chachi's mine, go away. This is the mind. Mine, go away. And what does the intelligence do? Yes, yes, yes. Correct, correct. Let me teach you a better way of doing that, okay? Tomorrow, don't kick him with your leg. Tomorrow, you take something and beat him. He'll go even further. That is the job of the mind. The intelligence. Yeah? But if the intelligence was mature intelligence, it would say, nah, see, that's not nice. That's not right. You're not supposed to do that. Now, if a 2-year-old behaves like that, and a 40-year-old also behaves like that, except we don't say it. No? We don't say, go away, I hate you. Instead, we behave in different ways. We'll talk about that person behind their back. We will do things that make them unhappy. Why? Because we don't like them. Our intelligence works like that. This is a mature intelligence. It knows that I shouldn't show overtly. I should do it covertly. That's mature intelligence. So here, envy, duality, all this arises in the mind. Okay? Who is steady in both success and failure. So when we say steady in success and failure, it means that the mind is steady. So when we say he is steady, what we mean is his mind is very steady. Success, failure, no problem. Never entangled. Although performing actions. So such a person is doing his everything he does, but he does it as his duty. He just does everything as his duty. He's not going to allow his senses to overtake him. He's not going to allow his mind to overtake him. His entire being is severely under the control of his intelligence, which is under the control of knowledge. Jnana. And therefore, he is a Jnana yogi. And therefore, he does not get any fruitive reaction, although he performs actions. Does that make sense? So there is a subtle difference in what Krishna is saying here and what he had said earlier in terms of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, he said, whatever you do it for me. Here he's saying, you may not do it for me, but how you do it, don't do it for yourself. Okay, so in the first instance, it was do it for me. In the second instance, he's saying, don't do it for yourself. You may not do it for me, but don't do it for yourself. Okay? Because you realize that you are not the owner. There is no ownership. Remember, he says there's no ownership, no sense of ownership. So everything belongs to the Supreme. Whoever that Supreme is at this stage, we are not concerned. We are only talking, remember, the Jnana Yogi only talks in terms of Brahman. So at this stage, the Supreme Brahman is the owner of everything. He's all pervasive, he's everywhere. And that concept now slowly Krishna will introduce when he talks about Brahma Haver, Brahma Agni, and so on. When he talks in terms of sacrifice. Next verse, 23. Gata Sangasya Muktasya
Gata Muktasya
Jnanavastita Chetasaha
Jnanavastita
Yajnaya Charata Karma
Yajnayacharata Karma
Samagram Praviliyate.
Samagram Praviliyate
Gata Sangasya, unattached to the modes of material nature. Muktasya, of the liberated. Jnana avasthita, situated in transcendence. Chetasaha, of such wisdom. Yajnaya, for the sake of yajna or Krishna. Acharataha, so acting, karma, work, samagram, in total, praviliyate, merges entirely. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Okay, so here he says, Gata Sangasya, one who is detached, means one who has no desire for sense gratification. One who is free from all I like and I don't like. Gata Sangasya Muktasya means one who is liberated. Jnana Avastitaha, one who is situated in knowledge and who performs all his actions for the sake of the Supreme Lord, Yajna. One of Lord Vishnu's names is Yajna. So here when Krishna is saying for Yajnaya, Yajnaya means for Yajna. This is Chaturthi Vibhakti. We'll come to it in our Sanskrit class soon. Yajnaya. Yajnaya acharataha, one who does all his actions for satisfying Lord Sri Vishnu. Karma samagram praviliyate. What happens is one who works like that, all the actions and reactions are destroyed. And he reaches a stage of performing akarma because action, reaction, everything is destroyed. So when he is doing only a karma, it means that even though he may be doing normal things, it is equivalent to him performing actions that are stated in the scriptures for the purpose of sacrifice. And such a person, the work of such a person merges entirely into transcendence. So the work of such a person becomes wholly spiritual because now he's doing akarma. Akarma means what? It's wholly spiritual. Does that make sense? So if we work for the Lord, it becomes completely spiritual. Let's do 24 as well. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir
Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam
Brahmagno Brahmanahutam
Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam
Brahmaiva Dena Gantavyam
Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Brahma Karma Samadhina.
This is a very popular verse. Many people know it. Yeah. So, Brahma, spiritual nature. Arpanam, contribution. Brahma, the supreme. Havihi, butter. Brahma, spiritual. Agnav, in the fire of consummation. Brahmana, by the spirit soul. Hutam, offered. Brahma, spiritual kingdom. Eva, certainly. Tena, by him. Gantavyam, to be reached. Brahma, spiritual. Karma, activities. Samadhina, by complete absorption. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Phew! Okay. Now here, we just have to understand one thing. The word Brahma here means spiritual. Okay. Brahma Arpanam. Brahma Arpanam. Offered to the Lord. Okay. Brahma Arpanam. Before that, we go right to the end, the last line. Brahma Karma Samadhina. Samadhina, it is an instrumental case. It says when once all activities are in the form of Brahma karma, spiritual activities, samadhina, and that person is completely absorbed in such activities. Samadhi, we all know what samadhi means, right? Samadhi, the folk mind, intelligence, everything is completely focused on that one thing. And what is that one thing? Brahma karma. Activities that are being performed for the Supreme. And who is that Supreme? The previous verse said Yagya, Lord Sri Vishnu or Krishna. Therefore, a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Okay. What happens to him? Brahma eva tena gantavyam. Third line. Brahma to the spiritual world. So to the spiritual world only he needs to go. So he doesn't go anywhere else. Such a person does not go anywhere else. He goes straight back to Godhead. How? Because of his full contribution to spiritual activities. Brahma Arpanam. All his activities have been offered to the Lord. Brahma Havihi. The butter. So how does he offer his activities? As if it is butter in fire. And what is that butter? The butter is also spiritual. His offering is spiritual. And the fire which is burning up that butter is also spiritual. So when we say he's offering into a fire, spiritual, etc., he's not really doing anything physically. What he is doing is he is completely absorbed in performing activities for the Lord, or he's completely absorbed in performing activities where he is not looking at satisfying himself at all. So up to that stage is jnana. Then as soon as we add the previous verse, where is that? Yajnaya acharatah. As soon as we add that, it becomes jnana yoga. We have now attached it to the Lord, that knowledge. And now that it has been attached to the Lord, everything he does is spiritual. And because everything he does is spiritual, all his actions get burnt away as if they have been offered as fire, as butter into fire. And going forward, Krishna will give us examples of how different types of people perform these activities. And we'll look at that next time. So next time we'll go through 23, we'll take that as the basis, and then we'll go through the rest. Okay. So who wants to do 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, up to 28. And 29 actually. Would anybody like to do that? Come on, give it a go.
I want my sister. Kanta versus Kanta.
Oh,
Mataji.
you're volunteering your sister, huh?
Yes.
So she will do the homework and I'll do the arithmetic. It's a lot for me, you know. It's a lot.
Don't worry, tomorrow is Nirjal. You got a lot of time for yourself. No cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, I know, no cooking tomorrow.
Nirjal Ekadashi. So everybody fasting, and so you can do your homework tomorrow.
That's a lot for me, no? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 6.
We're supposed to praise the Lord, right? In Nirjal fast.
Okay, Cynthia, you do half, I do half.
No, Benji, you do. I want you to learn. I can help you, but you learn. Because it's such a auspicious, such a nice opportunity. Mataji is giving you to practice this in a Ekadashi tomorrow, right, Vidushiri? Right? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I will help you, don't worry.
So
Okay.
25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. Okay, I know they look rather long, but the theme is pretty much similar. There's a thread that runs through all of them, so shouldn't be. Just identify that thread, and you should be good to go. Give it a try.
Okay.
Okay, Kantamataji.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful.
Hey,
Why
Mataji,
worry when my sisters are there to help me?
Yeah, exactly. You got two of them
I got
right
two,
there.
not one. Two.
I know.
Mataji,
Even though one offers you up as sacrifice.
we got everybody here to help. Everybody to help. It's not only one person. It's a teamwork, basically. It's a teamwork. Mataji, I just sorry I came very late. My apologies. I had a computer problem, and my whole computer restart. I had a restart issue. Just now, just to reiterate what you have just discussed, you said which shloka starts with just now with the Nyan starts from Nyan, and Karmakan, which one was it related? Sorry, I missed that part.
No, karma is in the previous chapter,
Yeah, okay.
right? So there Krishna is talking in terms of act for me.
Okay.
Here
But
he does not say act for me. Here he says act in a way that you are not acting for yourself.
okay.
Okay. There it was act for me. Here it is don't act for yourself. Right? And then once he has made you understand that you don't act for yourself, then he says act for Vishnu.
Okay.
Okay. He doesn't say act for me. He says act for Yajnaya. Yajna. Yajna is Vishnu.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next time what I'll do is I
I'm a,
have a question in my head
I'm
as
a
to
bit confused.
why he would say act for Vishnu and not act for me. Um, I have a certain thought, but I would like to go through some of the commentaries to make sure that what I'm thinking is correct, and to make sure that other acharyas have actually addressed that. And if they have not, then I'll just share with you what I think. It's just my thought. It's not what the acharyas are saying, and we'll see how that goes. But we'll do that next week.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. Another one you say yeah, and then you say yagya. You say two different pronunciations. So which one is which one again?
So yajna,
Yeah,
nya. So you know how jnana?
yeah,
So it is yajna. So it is
yagnya.
not yagya.
Okay, it's yagnya is
Yeah,
referring to Lord Vishnu,
that is correct.
and that is his a lot of sacrifice.
That is correct.
Okay, and just now you were just saying in the 24th verse. So you said yagnya to spirit. Actually, the summary of the 24th verse you say many times is being repeated. So can I can I conclude in that verse you said just now? To spiritualize all material activities through absorption.
Through absorption in the Lord, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, what, because that's exactly the translation here. If you look at it, Prabhupada says a person who's fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities. So that does not mean that he's not performing activities related to his body or to his family. Instead, what is actually happening is all those activities are becoming spiritualized because as he's performing them, he's fully absorbed in the Lord.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sadhya Mataji? Yeah. Your frame is fitting perfectly for you. Mataji, this is all background. Huh? I was wondering how you can speak inside the photo initially when you came. Mataji,
Good one.
so cute. Mataji, I'll come to your house. I'll make nice pictures for you, okay? It's technology. It's not me, it's the technology.
Like they had those I don't know which, they had some movie or something, remember, where the lady in the frame will keep talking. The ghost.
Yeah. Yeah. Mataji, but your background is much more because you got Jagara.
Oh, okay, okay. You kind of broke up, Mataji, but what Mataji was saying is your background is nicer because you got Jagannath in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, those three, they're always sitting on the sofa and enjoying themselves.
They are
Mataji.
protecting me
Yes.
Oh,
because I may
Mataji, I
say some wrong answer.
oh,
Yes, Sanchita
Sorry.
Mataji?
sorry to interrupt,
No,
Mataji.
no, no, no worries.
Um, I had one question regarding tomorrow's Ekadashi. So it's like completely fasting. So uh, I know it's a bit silly, but does it start after sunrise? Before sunrise, are we allowed to have food or water? Like, I'm
It doesn't quite work that way, Mataji.
no.
Um,
I don't feel I even asked the same question. Can I have a glass of water before I fast?
you
Before
can have as much water as you like tonight.
Oh,
because I think it's 6:30 in the morning, right, Mataji?
Okay, okay. Having said that, if you can't do a full Nirjala Ekadashi, don't do it. Okay, if your health doesn't permit, don't do it. It's it's a good to do, but more important, Prabhupada was very, very clear about Ekadashis. He said Ekadashi is a vrata. Okay, vrata means a vow. What is the vow? The vow is to do um, upavasa. Upavas does not mean fasting. Upavasa means upa means close, vasa means to stay. On these days of vrata, what is more important is that we stay very, very close to the Lord. Now, if because we are fasting, all we can think about is food and water and not the Lord, it's a complete waste of a powerful Ekadashi.
Exactly.
So do not do that. However, if you think you can, pray to the Lord for His mercy, pray to Him to help you. Get started and see how far you go. And you'll be quite surprised. Sometimes, you just sail through.
Yeah, very true.
So the whole idea is don't get fixated on what you have to do and what you don't have to do. Just be fixated on the Lord, and things will automatically happen.
Yeah, Sanjita Mataji, just to let you know, last year was my first time I did Nirjal. I tried with half day. Then I tried at 4 o'clock. Then I tried at 7 o'clock. Then I tried to 9. I said, I forget it. I'm going to sleep.
Oh,
I'm not going to eat and drink. I nearly finished. So that's how I did it. I did slowly, slowly. I didn't rush. So it's very difficult. But what Mataji say 100% true. Only by his mercy, ask his mercy to help you in the whole thing process. It's very difficult, but you try. It's like what she said, try a little bit by little bit.
thank you, Mataji. Thank
So,
And Bhakti Charu Maharaj has shared a very nice Nirjal Ekadashi, why we do and what is the
you're breaking up. Can others just turn off their mics? Yeah, Mataji.
I
Sanya
said
Mataji.
Bhakti Charu Maharaj has said a very nice. I'll send it to the chat here.
Okay.
To the why is the significance of the Nirjal Ekadashi fast. It's a
Okay.
very nice lecture from His Holiness here.
Okay. So just to answer your question whether you can have water before you start your fast, the Swati Nakshatram starts at 1:20 a.m. Okay.
Today,
So if you want to stay awake till 1:19 drinking water, you're most welcome. But 1:20 onwards, you can't.
oh, okay. Thank you, Aditi.
But at the end of the day, it, like I said, just pray to the Lord, He'll help.
You'll take care.
Yeah, you take care.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments? In which case, thank you all so much and have a wonderful Ekadashi tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji.
And we'll catch up
What
on
is to
thank
All
you,
the best.
Sanskrit class.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
everyone. Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.